It follows from all this that exchange is a sociological phenomenon sui generis, an original form and function of social life. It is in no way a logical consequence of those qualitative and quantitative aspects of things that are called utility and scarcity, which acquire their significance for the process of valuation only when exchange is presupposed. If exchange, that is the willingness to sacrifice one thing in order to acquire another, is precluded, then no degree of scarcity of the desired object can produce an economic value. The significance of the object for the individual is always determined by the desire for it, and its utility depends upon the qualities that it has. If we already possess the object, then its significance is not affected at all by whether there exist many or few or no other specimens of its kind. I leave aside here those cases in which scarcity itself becomes a quality of the object, thus making it desirable, as for example postage stamps, curios, and antiques which have no aesthetic or historical value. The sense of difference that is necessary for enjoyment may, of course, depend upon the scarcity of the object, that is, upon the fact that it cannot be enjoyed everywhere and at any time. However, this inner psychological condition of enjoyment does not have any practical effects, since, if it had, it would result in the perpetuation or increase of scarcity, which, as experience shows, does not occur. What concerns us here, aside from the direct enjoyment of the quality of objects, is the means by which it is accomplished. If the process is long and complicated, requiring sacrifices in the shape of deferment, disappointment, work, inconvenience, and renunciations, we call the object scarce. One might formulate it in this way: objects are not hard to get because they are scarce, rather they are scarce because they are hard to get. The inflexible external fact that the supply of some goods is too small to satisfy the desires of all of us is by itself insignificant. There are many things that are actually scarce, which are not scarce in the economic sense. Whether they are scarce in the latter sense is determined by the degree of strength, patience, and sacrifice that is necessary to acquire them by exchange, and such sacrifice presupposes a demand for the object. The difficulty of acquisition, the sacrifice offered in exchange, is the unique constitutive element of value, of which scarcity is only the external manifestation, its objectification in the form of quantity. It is often overlooked that scarcity is only a negative condition, which characterizes being through non-being. Non-being, however, cannot have any effect. Every positive result must be initiated by a positive quality and force, of which the negative is only the shadow. These positive forces are obviously those that are involved in exchange. Their positive character should be regarded as being dissociated from the fact that it is not attached to the individual. The relativity of things has the singular characteristic of going beyond individual cases, and subsisting only in multiplicity, yet being something other than a mere conceptual generalization and abstraction. The profound relationship between relativity and socialization, which is a direct demonstration of relativity for which mankind presents the material, is illustrated here. Society is a structure that transcends the individual, but that is not abstract. Historical life thus escapes the alternative of taking place either in individuals or in abstract generalities. Society is the universal which, at the same time, is concretely alive. From this arises the unique significance that exchange, as the economic historical realization of the relativity of things, has for society. Exchange raises the specific object and its significance for the individual above its singularity, not into the sphere of abstraction, but into that of lively interaction which is the substance of economic value. No matter how closely the inner nature of an object is investigated, it will not reveal economic value which resides exclusively in the reciprocal relationship arising between several objects on the basis of their nature. Each of these relations conditions the other and reciprocates the significance which it receives from the other. 3. Before developing the concept of money as the incarnation and purest expression of the concept of economic value, it is necessary to show the latter as part of a theoretical worldview, in terms of which the philosophical significance of money can be understood only if the formula of economic value corresponds to a world formula. Can its highest stage of realization, beyond its direct appearance or rather through this very appearance, claim to contribute to the interpretation of existence, economic value, and a relativistic worldview? We usually systematize our disorderly, fragmentary, and confused first perceptions of an object by distinguishing a stable and essential substance from the flux of movements, colors, and accidents that leave the essence unchanged. This articulation of the world as a stable core within fleeting appearances, and the accidental manifestations of enduring bearers of such appearances, grows into a contrast between the absolute and the relative. Just as we think that we can find within ourselves a being whose existence and character is centered in ourselves, a final authority which is independent of the outside world, and just as we distinguish this being from the existence and character of our thoughts, experiences, and development, which are real and confirmable only through relations with others, so we seek in the world substances, entities, and forces whose being and significance rest exclusively within them. We distinguish them from all relative existences and occurrences, from all those that are what they are, only through comparison, contact, or the reactions of others. Our physical psychological inclination and our relationship to the world